So, we've got a couple more things to learn about solving our polynomials. I am going to work through this one and I'm going to teach you little hints and see what happens. So, again, fundamental theorem. I know that I'm going to have 3 solutions. Sweet. If any of them are rational, I'm going to get them from my rational root theorem. So I'm going to take the factors of my constant, 1 and 5. I'm going to divide that by the factors of my leading coefficient, 1 and 5. So 1 divided by 1 is 1. 1 divided by 5 is 1/5. And 5 divided by 1 is 5. And 5 divided by 5 is 1. It's already listed. So this is where I'm going to take my guesses. So my hint that I'm going to teach you is called Descartes Rule. Descartes Rule. This helps me narrow down my guessing. Okay? I want to look to see how many positive solutions will I have. To check for the positive solutions, look at the sign changes. So I look back at my polynomial. Positive to a positive, that's not a sign change. Positive to a positive, not a sign change. Positive to a negative, that's 1 sign change. So I'm going to have 1 positive answer. Okay? So that's helpful. If I get a positive rational root, I'm done guessing positives because I only have 1. Okay? We do something similar to test for the negatives with a little bit of a twist. Okay? With the negatives, we actually have to go in and plug in a negative x. So negative solutions, what we're going to do is we're going to plug in negative x and then check the sign change. Okay? So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to plug in a negative x for my x's. So all I've done is I've replaced each x with a negative x. Negative x cubed, negative times a negative times a negative is negative. Negative times positive 5 is negative. Okay? Negative x squared. A negative times a negative is positive times a positive. Negative x times a positive 19 is negative. And then minus 5. So I've plugged in the negative x and now I've simplified. And now I'm checking my sign changes. So negative to a positive, there's 1. Positive to a negative, there's 2. Negative to a negative, no sign change. So I have 2 negative solutions. Okay? So now I know that if I get 1 negative answer, I've got to find that second negative. Little helpful hints there. So now I'm ready to try to solve my polynomial. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look for my first positive, so I'm going to plug in 1. Bring down my coefficients, and now I'm ready to test. So I drop the 5, 1 times 5 is 5, that's 34, 1 times 34, that's 34, that's 53, 1 times 53, yeah, that's not a 0. 1 doesn't work. So now it's either 1/5 or 5. So let's go ahead and let's test 1/5. I'm going to erase this. Give me more room here. Okay. So now I'm going to test 1/5. Bring down my coefficients again. All right. Drop is 1. 29 plus 1 is 30. 30 times 1/5 is 6. 6 plus 19 is 25. 25 times 1/5 is positive 5. And negative 5 plus 5 is 0. Sweet. So I found my positive solution. It's 1/5. So right now, I already know x equals positive 1/5. Cool. From here, I'm done guessing positives. I don't need to guess the positive 5 anymore because I found my one positive answer. So now I've got to look at my negatives. And I'm going to build off of my factor here. 5x squared 30x plus 25 is a factor of the polynomial, so I can keep using that to move forward. So I'll go ahead and I'll test negative 1. So drop the 5. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. Negative 5 plus 30 is 25. 25 times negative 1 is negative 25. Negative 25 plus 25 is 0. Boom! Second solution. Sweet. Negative 1 is an answer. Okay, so we have 2 out of our 3 answers. 2 of them so far are rational, which means the third has to be rational. So now that we're down here, we're ready to just solve. Watch this. If this was an x cubed, this was an x squared, well, that means this is just 5x. So right now, I'm looking at 5x plus 25, and it's equal to 0. I want to know what x equals. So I'm going to minus 25 over. 5x equals 25, and divide by 5. X equals negative 5. There's my second negative answer. Boom! I've just solved that polynomial. I needed 3 answers, 1 positive, 2 negative. Boom, boom, boom. Done. Solving polynomials with rational roots.